Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of the world's top designers and Celebrity Edge Design Ambassador, Nate Berkus.
Morning, everyone. So amazing. So, 2 years in the making, and we're finally able to talk about what has been going on in a shipyard in France. How are you guys feeling today? Yeah, good morning. So ask yourselves what would happen if a company that cared so deeply about the power of design, a company that cared so deeply about the magic of travel, and a company that cared so deeply about the concept of modern luxury, put their ego on the ground and revolutionized the way a ship was built. Hi, guys. I was like, oh God, wait, where's everybody? This is going to be an interesting day. I was like, where are those two? On a typical celebrity cruise, the crew comes from over 50 different cultures. The whole point of today is the opportunity to see the world, to actually get closer to the edge. My entire career has been based on travel. Every single thing I've done in design has always been about what inspiration I was able to pull from immersing myself in another culture. The smiles, the families, the crafts, seeing what the best other places have to offer. And cruising may be, well, it definitely will be by the end of today, the most luxurious, the most comfortable, the most transformative way to actually get up right to the edge of the world and see and experience everything that's going on. So I'm so excited actually to be here today. I'm so excited to be acting as design ambassador for Celebrity Edge. It's a massive honor. We have an incredible day for all of you. I just want to say, when I first saw what you're about to see, I had no idea that I was looking at a cruise ship. I was like, wow, I'm actually doing real estate porn. I'm looking at $10 million apartments, Manhattan, London, Seoul, anywhere, because the design of this boat is just that special. So with that, I would like to introduce you to two very special people. My friend Lisa Lutoff-Perlo and Richard Fain. And Richard Fain, everyone. Here we are.
Here we are. So how many people in this room have been asking me for 2 years, can you tell us about Edge? Thank God today is finally here, because it's really hard to keep a secret, but I am so proud of all of us that we kept this secret so long and so well, Richard.
It really is amazing, and frankly, some of us didn't want to reveal it today, but since the ship's going on sale this afternoon,
what time?
We kind of had to give away some of the secrets.
45 minutes.
45 minutes. So speaking of that, I want to welcome everybody who's actually watching on Facebook Live right now, and if you're cruising with Celebrity and you're watching us together about our massive announcement, and you like what you see today, you can actually book the ship at 1 o'clock, correct? 1 o'clock.
Yep.
But I suggest you wait until you see what we have to offer before you log on.
Well, yeah, because they're going to want to see all they get to choose from for the accommodation.
I actually will admit that I got a head start on that, and I've already booked my...
He did. He asked for 5 rooms on New Year's Eve, December 30th, 2018. Our first sailing is December 16th. 2018. That's our first 7-night sailing. The Celebrity Edge will be sailing in the Caribbean, East and Western Caribbean, alternating. And with that announcement, I would like to let you know that it is sailing out of Port Everglades. And yes, woohoo! And I would like to welcome and thank the Port Director of Port Everglades, Steve Cernak, who's with us here today, and the Mayor of Broward County, Barbara Sharif.
So Lisa, I think before we start talking about Edge, one of the reasons that I agreed to be a part of this amazing experience is that I felt instantly that I was part of the Celebrity family. So for people who aren't familiar with Celebrity as a brand, pitch them as you pitched me so beautifully in Los Angeles,
Okay.
because this is a very special ship, but more importantly, this is a very special group of people.
Thank
So
you.
I will
Thank you, Nate.
give
Thank
it over to you.
Yes, I did fly out to Los Angeles to meet with Nate, to show him Celebrity Edge, and to talk about celebrity in general. Not only what we do, but what we care about. And one of the things we care deeply about is the world that we visit, the cultures that we visit, the fact that we open up the world to our guests, and also our 5 pillars. Celebrity focuses on 5 things and 5 things only. We focus on the design, which many of you in the room know, and some of you will soon find out. We focus on accommodations, not only how they look and feel, but how they're appointed. Where people sleep is very important to them. We care about the places we take people, and we have spent the last few years really fine-tuning and enhancing our destination experience, and our friends like Ben Fogel are here in the audience today because they have been such a big part on how our guests experience the destination. And then our culinary experience is really at the top of the industry, and I get to work with an amazing group of people that take such good care of our guests and provide the most amazing culinary experiences out there. And service, talking about our crew, it is a pillar of celebrity, and it's really important to us. So when we think about how we do this and how we amplify these pillars, that's how we went about designing Edge. Today we're going to focus on 3 of them. Design, which to Nate's point, he did think it was a penthouse apartment in New York. Someone else said this looks like a luxury hotel somewhere in the world, and I said it is.
That was also me, by the way.
That was also you,
Yeah.
okay. And that's Celebrity Edge. It is a luxury hotel. And then also accommodations and destinations. But on the design side, you know, it's really, for some of you are familiar with our brand and some of you are not. And we really focus on design already, and we do it really well. And again, we're awarded for it, we're well known for it. And how do you get better when this is the result you get from press, trade, and consumers on your brand? Well, you do things like partnering with the wonderful, amazing Nate Berkus, who not only is a world-class designer and so modern luxury, as you see by much of his work here, but just an amazing person that we're so proud to be partnered with. And Nate has been designing since what, early 20s?
Yes.
You've transformed homes all around the world.
21-year anniversary of my design, Chicago-based design firm.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
You've transformed homes all over the world. And you and your husband, Jeremiah, have a new show on TLC starting next month.
We do. April 8th. Thank you for
Congratulations.
teeing that up for me.
Yeah, my
I appreciate
pleasure.
that.
My pleasure. Congratulations
Thank
and good
you.
luck. We're very excited and happy for you. And next, Mr. Tom Wright. Please stand up, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
An extraordinary architect and designer. Wait until you see his work. Some of it is right here behind me. Having spent 5 years in Dubai, Tom has been part of the most amazing architecture in the Middle East. And we couldn't be happier or prouder to have you have created all of these areas on the ship that we're soon going to talk about that really help us relate to our destinations in such a compelling and beautiful way. And last but not least, the extraordinary Kelly Hoppen. Kelly. I think when you see this design, it becomes pretty clear why we would want to work with Kelly. Over 40 years in design, an author, transforms homes, builds hotels, builds cities. And we're so proud and honored that you chose Celebrity Edge.
And also, both of them are so unattractive.
I know they are, aren't they?
So
I know.
sorry,
I know.
everyone. We're going to try better next time to get some people that aren't so hard on the eyes. Forgive us.
But you know, it's also,
Spoken by a true designer.
I think it's cool that she not only talks the talk, but she walks the walk. The image in the top left is actually her house, and that's her dining room. I mean, she does live this experience.
Yes, she does. And it's extraordinary. Let me give you a sneak peek of a couple of Kelly's designs on the ship. This is the spa.
I mean, come on, guys. No, that reaction wasn't what I was looking for. Thank you. Look at how when I saw the presentation in Los Angeles, I laughed out loud when this image came up on the screen.
That was a little disconcerting.
I know it made you
It did.
made you nervous a little bit, but honestly, like this on a ship is it's so magnificent. This is what when you'll see this is what we mean when we say design is not only important to celebrity but important to the guest, because this is how this ship is transformative. You're not seeing anything like this on anything else anywhere.
Want to see one more before we go
Yeah.
on? Look at this. Penthouse suite.
A penthouse suite, though.
This is the one that made you say, is that a...
Yeah, I honestly felt that I was looking at real estate listings. Yeah. It's a different class of service, a different class of accommodation that simply, and we'll explain to you what that really looked like. Richard has been like a boy jumping through everything.
I am a boy.
You are a boy, but you've been like an excited child at a birthday party.
And you should know that. You have a 2-year-old, right?
Yeah, actually, so Richard and my 2-year-old daughter Poppy have had the same expression on their face for 2 days. But it will explain to you how these designs were achieved and take you through a little bit of a history lesson, because you'll come to understand the evolution of ship design. And it's actually really riveting. So, FYI.
Yes, well, we're going to now turn this over to the little boy.
Yep.
So he can do his favorite part.
You're up.
This is the most transformative part of Celebrity Edge. So, Richard, take it away.
You know, Nate, I usually like to be compared to something other than a 2-year-old child. But I'll take it. And yes, it is true. I am excited about this. And you all know we're doing today a little differently than normal, because the normal thing on an inaugurated new ship is we bring it out in New York. I don't know why anybody would want to go to New York in March, but there you have it. So we bring it out in New York and we show it off and we show you what we end up with. But we're going to do something that every magician is told don't ever do, and that is show the tricks behind the magic. And actually, it's not tricks. What we've really done, what we're showing here today is really two things. We're showing the edge, but we're also inaugurating the Innovation Lab, which is behind us here, and we're going to go into that in a minute. And the Innovation Lab is one of the tools that we use to bring these new ideas together, and it's what makes the magic happen. And so we wanted you to see how we got here. When we're finished, you're going to say, I hope you're going to say, well, there was no new technology there. Where's the great new inventions? I draw an analogy to the iPhone. Everything about the iPhone was known ahead of time. They had flat screens, they had micro accelerators, and they had all the kinds of techniques that were in it. What Apple did was bring all that together in a way that nobody had ever thought of before. And what you're going to see here today as we go through the process is we're going to show you how we did it, why we did it, and what the outcome is. And I think if you understand all that, we think it'll make it better. We also think the industry can move forward. So we'll start with the first part here and talking about the history of cruise ships. This is what people sort of imagine. It's from the steamship era. This is what everybody thought everybody's cabin was like. Of course, it is a first class cabin. And you will notice two things about it, which is that it doesn't have a window and it doesn't have a bathroom. But other than that, it was a really fantastic cabin. It's everybody's image of cruising in those days. But the truth is, only the very wealthy could afford something like this. Most people stayed in a cabin that looked more like this or more like this. And that's where the cruise ship started, and it shifted to starting in the 70s. We go to a picture that shows our first vessel, actually. Nice small cabins. They had an innovation here, which was a porthole. Terrific improvement in the state of the cabin. And this is where cabins were. As we got towards the end of the last century, we started to really open up. The cabins started to get larger. And the big change, and it was a huge change, was the advent of the balconies. And the verandas really made a difference. And you can see that this is much more open, much more gracious, much more spacious. there's no doubt, if you look at the color scheme here, there's no doubt about what era this is from. And so that's also part of the thought process. When you have the opportunity to bring in designers and experts in this and bring it up to a new level, that was part of the theory. Now, towards the beginning of the new century, you started to see vessels that looked like this. The colors got a little bit better, the cabins got a little bit larger, but we're still talking about incremental change. And incremental change, frankly, is a thing of the past. I don't care what your field is, incremental change is history. Now, it is true that the pace of change today is slower than it ever will be again. And that is what we have to deal with. That's the reality of what we have to deal with. So what could we do to do something that was transformational? What could we do that would be not just a little better, but something that you all would say, oh my God. So the first thing we did is we looked at the size of staterooms. And what you can see from this chart is that over the last decade or so, this is every ship that delivered over the last 10 years or so. And what you can see is that pretty much they've all narrowed in on a size of 15, 16, 17 square meters. Very, very much that's become a norm. There are little differences. By the way, to make sure that we were consistent, the source of this is each company's own website. And there are minor differences in the way we all measure it, so we also went to people like cruisedeckplans.com, et cetera, to do a double checking on this. And what you can see is there's been a narrowing in, a focus on a size in the range of 16, 15, 17 square meters. So for Edge, the very first thing we did was say, let's do it a little differently. So, I added the fireworks. I like fireworks. So does Papa. And I'm going to explain in a couple of minutes what that white horizontal line is. But basically, the first thing we did was look at that and say, can we make this better and can we make it larger? So I'll take you back and I'll ask you to look here at a plan of, this is a plan view of a typical stateroom. Traditionally, this is the way we all build staterooms, balcony staterooms on ships. This one happens to be from the Solstice class. And by the way, this is one of the larger staterooms afloat. It's one of the better recognized staterooms afloat. This is what a stateroom looks like. Now, one of the constraining factors on building these staterooms is that you have steel here and up here. And you probably don't notice it when you walk in the ship because we put curtains here, so subliminally it looks like there's more glass behind the curtain. But this steel, which is needed to keep the ship together, and generally speaking, we continue to view that as a positive. In fact, our naval architects think of it as optimal. But this steel acts as a real barrier. Psychologically, physically, you're really separated from the veranda. The cabins are spectacular. They're really the best things there. We all have these cabins and they're all quite good. But we wanted to see if we could go better. So the first thing we did was we looked at the structure of this. Now, I happen to have, I tend to travel light, so this came in excess baggage. And this is actually the steel from one of our existing ships. This is a very traditional kind of steel model. And what you have here is you have a very strong frame of the ship. It's the backbone of the vessel. Keeps the ship together. As I say, we continue to view that as a positive. But it does end up acting as a barrier. And we all do this slightly differently. So we, for example, happen to put the the stiffening members on the outside. Some people put the stiffening members on the inside. But somewhere, the ship needs to have a strong backbone. And then what we do is we glue the balcony on. I'm standing on the strut here that holds the balcony on, and the balcony is glued on, hopefully with super glue, and it's just attached on as an appendage, and that's why it kind of feels like an appendage when you go back to your drawing. And so we asked ourselves 5 questions, 5 very simple questions. In fact, I say we asked ourselves, actually our guest asked us, what could we do better? What would they like to see better? And it turns out there are 5 things, 5 questions they had. First, they wanted a bigger bathroom. Everybody wants a bigger bathroom. You want it here, you want it at home, but you want it on the ship as well. And so the first thing they wanted was a bigger bathroom. They also wanted a bigger bed. Clearly, they would like more storage. Can we have more living area? And last but not least, and this comes back to the whole question of edge, can we have a closer connection with the ocean? Again, the name of the project is Project Edge. Can we go to the edge with this? Can we have a closer connectivity to the ocean? And so those were the 5 questions that we started with. And those seem very simple, but none of us have been able to use the great technology that's available today to move us in that direction. So let me just go and first explain a little bit about the structure of the ship. I told you I'm going to show you the stuff we don't normally talk about. But this is a traditional ship structure. And you have cabins on both sides, and then you have this big steel box that represents the ship. That's the thing that keeps it together. That's the spine of the ship. And in this case, it's what they would call an exoskeleton. It's on the outside. So, because as I pointed out, the balconies are just glued on. But the structure of the ship is framed from the outside in. And because of that, you have to have these massive structures here. But what they came up with was, what if we simply move the steel structure in, and instead of having an exoskeleton, we have an endoskeleton. And with an endoskeleton, you still have all the structural blocks, the backbone of the ship that you need to have. But now, you don't have that barrier between the cabin itself and the balcony. And I saw a couple of you looking over to this, not surprisingly. It's easier to get onto this too, by the way. When you move your spine, you get the opportunity to do something like this. You get the opportunity to build less on the outside, and therefore you can have a better connectivity between the cabin and the balcony. And so this, ladies and gentlemen, this is Edge. Now, but wait, now the question is, well, what do we do with that information? And again, I remind you, we're not talking about new technologies. We haven't invented new ways to hold ships together. What we've done is we've used existing technologies and we've exploited that in ways that haven't been exploited before. So now let me show you one of the early ideas, not the final idea, but an early idea of taking advantage of that kind of a structure. So the early idea was to build your stateroom with a lovely stateroom, a curved glass wall that separates you from your balcony, and a very lovely balcony. But it has the opportunity to convert, and you can move the wall and shift it around. And so now you have a huge cabin, and Bob's your uncle, all of this goes into the cabin itself. And if you want to go back to a veranda, you simply bring the wall back, and voila, you have a veranda. So you really get the best of both worlds. And we thought that was a very exciting concept. I would call this a proof of concept. It wasn't the final design, but we then experimented with it and we built one. And here's the wall going around. And there you now have the balcony as part of the stateroom and the expansive feel that that gives you. But also, it brings you closer to the edge, closer to the connection with the ocean. And we liked that. Didn't like the fact that you now sort of still have two glass in between you. But using that concept, we did build what we now call the edge stateroom with the infinite veranda, and it looks like this. Yes, I heard that, and I liked hearing that. You didn't hear it? I heard a mumbling in the crowd, and a few people said, wow.
Okay, good. Yeah, we like that. Okay, good.
And you're also seeing here what happens when you bring a designer of the stature of Kelly Hoppen to bring her magic into this space. And so what you see, what you have here is this broad area. It makes your cabin larger, and you have the connectivity to the sea, and you have the opportunity to close the French doors. I'll talk about that in a moment. So I would contrast, this is our standard stateroom today. It's lovely, by the way. This is pretty much what we all do. It's very nice. You have these large doors in between, and then you have a very nice balcony, but you are separated from the ocean, you are separated from the total. But instead of that, we went to this, where you can go right up to the edge, as it were. Also, the window comes down, leaving you with just a normal balcony, and you can close the French doors. So if you look at that in plan view, this is now the edge stateroom. And you can see it is dramatically larger, about 23% larger than Solstice, and Solstice is one of the larger ships already today. If you wish to have a balcony, you simply close your French doors, and you have a balcony. But as most of us spend our time not on the balcony but in the stateroom, you open the doors and you have this magnificent stateroom. And coming back to our 5 questions, you have a beautiful larger bathroom. You have a larger bed. You have more storage space. No, actually you have a bigger living area. I got them backwards apparently. And you have more storage. And lastly, and I think one of the nicest things is you have a better connection with the ocean. And that's a consistent theme that you're going to hear about more and more. So that's the picture. And if you look at it from the other angle, again, the magic of Kelly Hoppen, it really is spectacular. And you'll see a mock-up of this inside.
Thank you, Richard. So I had dinner with Lisa and with Kelly last night, and Kelly said something that I thought was really great at the table, because I said, what has it been like working on this project? And Kelly said to Lisa, well, you never said no, which is amazing if you really think about that. So the idea, Richard, I love the history, by the way, of this stateroom. It looked like a correctional facility back in the day. I mean, it really did. I just read something about solitary confinement on the plane ride down here. That second business, right before we went to the 70s. Not your best work, by the way, on that cabin. Just saying. But this is fantastic. This category. How many of the actual accommodations on Edge are the infinite veranda staterooms?
918 Edge staterooms with infinite verandas. And while I have that opportunity, I'd like to just tell you one more new thing for Celebrity on Celebrity Edge. We now have 16 single Edge staterooms with infinite verandas. The first time ever Celebrity has had single staterooms. So we're also very excited about that. And that bigger bed in every double stateroom is a king-size bed with our new cashmere bedding program. And I see Barbara over there shaking her head, our mayor of Broward County. She's a big Celebrity fan and cruises on Celebrity all the time. So in 20 minutes, Barbara, you can make your reservation. And then right after that, you'll have enough time to see the rest of the accommodations so you can make up your mind which one you want.
Was that decision made because single staterooms are typically overlooked? Were they typically much smaller?
Well, they are smaller because there is just one person.
Right.
But we haven't introduced a ship in 6 years. We haven't had the opportunity to design one at Celebrity in 10. So others have singles, and singles are very popular.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who travel by themselves who would like a single stateroom. So this was finally our opportunity to do that, and we're very excited about it.
Swipe left, everybody, on the edge.
Swipe left on the
Swipe
edge.
left.
There you go.
Make the connection.
There you go.
It's really fantastic. So that is a revolutionary, completely transformative way of inhabiting a stateroom, the opportunity to have the infinite veranda, the extra space, the choice, truly, to bring you closer to the ocean and to connect with the ocean in that way. Let's talk about what happens when you go upstairs.
Oh, the suites, you mean?
Yeah.
So if I was a boy,
You are, yes. Not a
am.
hypothetical
You're a big boy.
question.
I'm a big boy.
boy.
You know, they do say the
Two-year-old
difference
boy.
between men and boys is the size of the
their
toy.
toys.
Yes.
Yes. As excited as
I can
I've
tell
been,
you there's a lot more differences, but we won't get into that.
as excited as I've been, I think Lisa going off on her.
Oh, yeah,
Explosion here.
it's my turn now.
Yeah, it really
my
is your
favorite
turn.
part. Thank you. My favorite part. So if I may, another new experience on the Celebrity Edge for us is what we're calling the retreat. And this is our suite experience. Many of you in the room know about our suite experience today, and it's terrific. But again, we're talking about transformational change. And so the retreat on Celebrity is our new experience for our suite guests. Currently, we have 5% of our rooms that are suites. On Edge, there will be 12% of our rooms that are suites. And many of you know about our current suites. Some of you do not, but we have a great press kit that tells you all about them. So we're carrying over a lot of our suites from all of the rest of our ships. But I want to take the opportunity to tell you about two new categories of suites. So the first is our iconic suites. There are two of them. And this is the bridge. This is where the captain is and his team. And they take this beautiful ship all over the world. Right above the bridge are our two iconic suites. So they actually have a better view than the captain.
Costas, eat your heart out.
Eat your heart out. I know. Yes. Probably our guests will be like giving them advice, and
Right.
they're going to hate us for this in a little while. But how could you blame us? Because look at how beautiful they are. This is the living room and dining room, again designed by Kelly HOPPEN.
And you got the sucking in of breath again.
I know.
Oh, congratulations.
I know. And Richard bought one of these, full fare, bought one of these for New Year's Eve.
Yes, I meant to negotiate better.
No, no
late.
deals, no deals. And then this is the bedroom, one of two bedrooms in the iconic suite. And it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath suite. And then look at this veranda. It's right over the bridge wing. And yes. And then again, look at these views as you travel around the world. Nowhere else in the world but on Celebrity Edge.
I'm as blown away now, and I've seen this imagery as well as what you're about to see inside the Innovation Lab so many times. But listening to you all sort of gasp when you saw these accommodations, do you or do you not understand me looking at this for the first time and saying, what hotel is this? What apartment, what condo in Manhattan is this? What development am I witnessing? The idea that you could be on a ship and have this level of modern luxury, privacy, and view, a better view than the captain, is ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Yes. So we have one more available for New Year's Eve for you, Jeremiah and Poppy.
And then I have
you're
to travel with
interested.
Richard and his whole family. Is anyone free the week after?
Yeah. How about the week before? Christmas. All right, so the second new category of suites that we have on Celebrity Edge are the Edge Villas. And this is our first two-story suite on Celebrity. The floor-to-ceiling windows are magnificent. The stairway is to the right, not obstructing the view. A second full bathroom. This is the living room and dining area. Every one of these, there are 6, have their private plunge pool. And also, again, panoramic windows. And there's the veranda. This is where they're located on the ship. Again, there are 6 of them, 2 on one side, 4 on the other. And when you leave the bedroom, which you can see is on the upper level, and you go outside, this is where you end up. You end up at the retreat sun deck. And this is the first time that we have had a pool and sun deck dedicated only for our suite guests. All of our suites are pretty much on decks 11 and 12. And the one other thing about the retreat is that all of these areas are in very close proximity to each other. Also connected to the retreat sun deck is the retreat lounge. And this is another suite experience. And then lastly, you know we have Luminae on our ships today for our suite guests. This is Luminae on Celebrity Edge. Again, designed by Kelly, and also on deck 11. So again, all the suite experiences are in very close proximity. So ladies and gentlemen, the retreat on Celebrity Edge.
I think it's really important to note that when you hire an esteemed designer such as Kelly Hoppen, who has done projects, as you mentioned, all over the world, but not a ship prior to this, what you end up getting is a deeply personal experience that's curated and designed as if you were at home. And that, I think, is arguably one of the most striking things. My hats off, designer to designer, Kelly, honestly. But I mean, when you go through sort of we'll talk about the details and how the details came to be, because that also is transformational with Celebrity Edge. But it is, as you look at these images and as you experience this a little bit later today, that is sort of where, you know, they say God is in the details, nowhere more than where we have, what we have for you and what we're going to show you later today.
And speaking of what we're going to show you later today, I'd like to move on to destination. Kelly and what she has done to help us design the beautiful areas that everybody is going to sleep in, that help us help our guests engage more with the destinations, is really, really important. And I think you've seen that here, especially through the Infinite Veranda. But the genius of Tom Wright and his architecture on how our guests are going to be able to experience the destination from the ship is really, really special as well. And one of our guiding principles when we were designing Celebrity Edge was we wanted outward-facing design. So many, and Ben was talking about this before, so many ships are designed looking in. Why would you look in? That beautiful sea is all around you. We dock overnight in over 100 ports of call. Why wouldn't you want to look out in the beautiful ports that we're visiting around the world? So when Tom and Celebrity started working together, we thought, how can we do that? So one of the places that we're doing that is on the resort deck. We don't call it the pool deck anymore because that means you're facing the pool. The resort deck is all about facing the beautiful places in the world that we sail and also the oceans that we sail in. And so what we show here is the port side of the resort deck where all the chaises are facing the other way, looking at the ocean. And one of the very special parts about looking at the ocean on this ship, Richard, is one of your favorites.
Well, it is because, you know, it's not unusual. In fact, most ships have outward some glass on the side. The difference here is that in most ships, that's one deck above. And so your normal walkway above that is here. And while you can see the ocean, you can see that the level of connectivity is at a different scale when you have this enormous expanse. And that's a little bit what we're here to talk about. So bringing in somebody like Tom Wright to rethink the whole top deck results in amazing thought process. But also, we've said that part of the reason we're showing this, part of what we're talking about today, is the fact that this is the first ship that was entirely built in 3D. We've had 3D technology for a long time. We've all had it, we all use it. What's different is we're using it to an extent that we've never used before. And in order to go to this incredible view with just this openness, and as Lisa says, the Shays is pointing out, you had to rethink the entire deck. And the truth is that when you look at most drawings, you're looking at them in 2 dimensions. You're looking at a flat piece of paper. And so you look at deck 12 and then you look at deck 13. And so the way you connect your decks is with a set of stairs, because that's what you do. But when you can look at things in 3 dimensions, when you can see them through the virtual reality simulator, when you can see them through the models that we made, the 3D printed versions that we make up, Tom has come and rethought the entire deck to provide a flow, an organic passageway, so that the decks really interweave with each other. And one of the outcomes is this, and
this. And so, again, when you go inside, you're going to get to see and touch and feel a lot of this. But this is the outcome of all of that work and thinking and just magnificence of this resort deck. And this is where the chaises were, which we showed you. These are the martini glass shaped hot tubs, 2 of them on the deck. This beautiful sculpture that was inspired by the Baccarat Hotel in New York City, and that will the sun will glisten and create all of this beautiful art sculpture over the pool bar, and the sculptural trees that we have on the deck. This is a 25-yard pool. No 2 small pools on the resort deck. 1 long 25-yard pool. And oh, by the way, these are the cabanas that are right behind the sculptural trees. Again, 2 levels. And we have a surprise for you so you can actually see what these are like, because when you look at them, you can't even appreciate how beautiful and big they are and tall.
This was actually a surprise to me. I have probably seen these 100 times in drawings and virtual reality and every other way. And when we built them in 1-to-1 scale, and you're going to see that, that's part of what we're doing later on, it really, even for me who knew what to expect, it was very impressive, and I think you'll enjoy that.
So this is I'm just showing you how our guests are going to be able to love these in comfort. These are also outward facing at the beautiful ocean. If you go a little further down the resort deck, I'd like to quickly show you the rooftop garden. On some of our ships, we have a rooftop terrace. On some, we have a lawn club. On Celebrity Edge, we have a beautiful combination of the 2. And this combines the beautiful greenery. Again, this is Tom Wright. Sculptural trees that and this is a space that you can use morning, noon, and night, yoga in the morning, activities during the day, just chilling all day. At night, it transforms into this beautiful space where we have performers in the trees, and the trees light up. We also have film you can see on the big screen where we have our taste of film experience. And oh, by the way, you can catch dinner in a movie if you'd like to have dinner in our rooftop garden grill. With the best barbecue in the world on Celebrity Edge. And then just the last thing I'm going to tease you with, because we're not going to show you this until we get inside, but this is another outward-facing view that we're going to share with you when we take you inside the Innovation Lab, again designed by Tom Wright, and I promise you this is magical.
This will represent, I think you've gotten the sense already that with Celebrity Edge as a brand new class of ships, that everything has been rethought. As Richard has explained, the placement of the skeleton of the actual structure of the boat was changed to create a better experience. Sorry. A boat is what you take when your ship is sinking, correct?
Well done. We've tried, but you still get some demerits for forgetting that last time.
Fair enough. But what Richard was explaining before about the changing the actual structure of the ship in conjunction with Tom to create a better experience for the guest, to create that connectivity to the sea, to the world, really, at large. What Lisa is sort of tempting you with is arguably the largest architectural innovation ever done to date, which you'll see inside.
And this isn't easy, right? This looks easy when we stand up here and present it, but how do we? I mean,
I don't think
they
have any idea. I know, but I don't think they had any idea. I mean, a lot of my designs start out literally on a napkin at a dinner party. So, I mean, the idea of the daunting task of designing the first ship Celebrity's designed in 10 years. How does that how does that come to be truly? Because I think that you've rethought everything from the structure of the ship to the size of the verandas to the way that people can experience the sea when they're at sea or docked. And I think you should tell everybody about how that came to be.
Well, yeah, thank you. Your napkin sketches are still the start of great creativity, and nothing gets away from that. But what the new technology allows us to do is build on that. So we still need the creative geniuses, such as you're talking about, and what you do when you do a sketch. But one of the things we wanted to do was find ways to do this better. And so we wanted to take not only the greatest minds around, but give them the greatest tools. And in this case, the greatest minds aren't only the designers and architects. They also include all the people at Royal Caribbean and Celebrity. And I know many of you have asked over time, how is it that we keep innovating? And I say, because Celebrity has this culture of constant improvement, of empowerment to come up with new ideas. And actually the new 3D designs, I would say, democratize the process. And so you do start out with a drawing, but you're used to looking at drawings. And historically, we would look at a drawing like this. And this one is probably a 1 to 200 scale drawing. And over years and years and years of looking at these things, you get to have a sense that, okay, this hallway is this big, and at that scale that works fine. But if it's this big, that's not an acceptable level. And to get there, you need the experience, you need the expertise, but it basically shifts the hands of all elements of the design into the hands of the experts. And it got a little bit better when people started doing things with computers. You could start to see things bigger, but still scale becomes a problem, because I don't know what this is. Is this 1 to 27.8 or 86.2? Who knows how big these things are? You don't have an intuitive sense. So the 3D technology starts to give us an opportunity for people to actually look or walk around this. Here's Harry Coulibaly in these very stylish glasses. Harry? Harry is the genius that builds all of our ships. He is an evil genius, but he's still a genius, and we accept both sides of him. And Kelly also was able to get a pair of these highly stylish glasses.
Kelly Gonzalez.
I can't believe with the money you spent on this ship that you couldn't have found more attractive glasses for them to wear.
What do you mean? Those are the most expensive glasses around.
They're so hideous. Unbelievable. Sorry. And photographed for all eternity on Facebook Live.
That's right. To the world.
Unbelievable.
Well, actually, if you think those are bad, look at what Tom Wright. I'm pretty sure that's Tom's profile. Yeah, and look at how Tom looks with the bubble sticking out of his glasses. That's Mork, isn't it? Anyhow, so this is looking at it 3D, and one of the advantages that this is how we do 3D. And one of the advantages of 3D is that when the architects give you drawings, and they sometimes try and give you perspectives. So, everybody uses some 3D on the ships. People use simulators, other things, but they always choose, excuse me for telling your secrets, but the architects, in 29 years, I've never seen a bad architectural drawing. It always looks good on the drawing. They always choose the best vantage point and they take a little bit of poetic license. But with the 3D technology, a layperson can walk in and see it in 3 dimensions. And so one of the things we have inside that you'll see is a virtual reality simulator. And basically this is a room, and the room is like this, but it actually uses up 1/9 of the space, because there's a room above, a room below, a room on all the sides that's needed to give all the projections from the different areas. And so what we've done is, this is the first ship where everything has been built looking at it in different ways of 3D. So again, it's not new technology, it's just technology used in a more extensive way than ever before.
So that's all great, right? And I have loved the process that we've gone through to get where we are today, to reveal only a few things about Celebrity Edge today. But at the end of the day, all of the things that we're able to use and all the great minds that we bring together and all the collaboration that we do is for only one thing. It's the benefit of our guest and the celebrity modern luxury experience. And so, ladies and gentlemen, with that, I would like to reintroduce you to Celebrity Edge.
So amazing.
So amazing.
So we thank all of you for coming. Did you have anything else you wanted to tell everyone?
Yeah, the rest
Well, I
of
probably
that,
should
yeah.
give them a little
Yeah.
introduction to what's coming next.
Perfect.
Because the question is, well, what are we doing today? In effect, the day has been divided into 3 sections. You've just completed the first section. Congratulations, you've all passed.
Made it through.
Made it
They
through.
made it through. And so did we.
Actually, I'll give a high five.
There you go. Thanks.
Congratulations for that. So now what we do is we go into the into the innovation laboratory, and the innovation lab, and they're gonna move the wall out of the way, and we're gonna go through that. When you go in there, we're gonna break you up into groups of 8 or 9 or whatever it is, and we're gonna give you headphones so that you can hear, and we have hosts, docents who will take you around. The innovation lab is really divided into 2 floors. The ground floor is more of a workshop. It's just like you have a workshop at home, and it's where we build things and try them out so you can actually feel what things are like. Sometimes it's simply out of plywood. You'll see some of those, but sometimes it's the big picture, and we actually have some mock-ups. We have a mock-up of the Solstice class cabin, so you can see where we started from. And then next to that, we have mock-ups of the new Edge suites with the infinite balconies. And so that you can actually see what that's like. You can also see some vignettes of many others of Kelly Hoppen's area. And basically you wander around that area. Upstairs is where the high-tech toys are. And upstairs you'll see we've got some things that are 3D printed. You'll see Jay Schneider and some of the work he's doing on the digital side. Make sure you see the X-ray machine. We have an X-ray machine up there that you'll find fun. And then you go into my playroom, which we call the cave. And the cave has more of the high-tech toys. Okay, so that's the second part of the day. Then we leave there and we go over to the far side of the parking lot. And there we have some mock-ups of some of the things you've seen today, 1-to-1 scale, including the magic carpet. We did have to reinforce the parking lot to handle the scale of what we've built, but it'll give you a real sense of what we're talking about here. And that's our plan.
Okay.
Terrific.
Uh,
Did I forget anything?
Yeah, just one more thing. First of all, I know we didn't talk about culinary today, but we are modern luxury. It is one of our pillars, so we will feed you lots of great food from a few of the different venues on Celebrity Edge, and there's great drink in there as well. But we also have one more special guest who would like to welcome you before we go into the Innovation Lab. And we happen to have, and some of you flew down with him today, the captain of Celebrity Edge, Captain Costas. Come on up, Captain.
Hello, pleasure. Sorry about your view.
You're welcome. Well, thank you, Richard. Thank you, Lisa. Nate. I would like to introduce myself one more time. I'm Captain Kostas Nestoridis. I'm from Greece, and I've been honored, huge honor and a privilege to be the captain of this amazing ship.
Nate, you're never going to live that down. We have that preserved for posterity.
Perfect.
I just cannot wait to put my hands on it and sail it around the world, starting from the Caribbean, as you well know. So, did you like it? Excellent. Do you want more? Okay. I have picked up amazing crew. They are waiting just outside to show you, to reveal a little bit more of this amazing ship, and also to introduce you on what we mean the world at your service. So please follow us, and we will have fun. Thank you very much.